Happy Monday. What's up, Ramon? What's up, C's? Thanks for helping me. I appreciate it. All right. So I'm gonna set a finger up and then a couple other fingers. What is going on? Very, very good afternoon to all the YouTubers out there. Really, really appreciate you guys joining me for a session of Nail School on YouTube. Just waiting till I actually see. There we go. How's it going, Jane Kim? Really appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining. Just getting the fingers set up right now. There we go. Reglam, good afternoon. How's it going? Really, really appreciate you guys joining in. I'm just setting the hand up so that we're ready to sculpt. Nora, what's going down? Glad that you're here. For those of you guys that joined us on TikTok, this is going to be a continuation. We're going to be going over all the fundamentals, but instead of just working with just one product today, I'm going to be working with Speed Bubblegum, and I'm also going to be working with Cork Clear. Two of the products right now that we are have on sale right now. So for those of you guys that actually bought this, what's going on, Elizabeth? Ocean Dreams, glad to have you back. Gin Nails, what's going down? Really appreciate you guys tuning in. All right, so what we're gonna do, let's just get into prep. So if I'm prepping, I'll prep a couple nails, right? I always like to remove, right, the back end. You can see how thick that cuticle area is. If I just clip it off, then what's going to end up happening is I'm going to be able to just kind of round off the edges, right? It's going down. Pour me another one. We were just in England, had a blast. It was an incredible spring break. Hi, Caroline. Glad to have you here. Okay, so I'm going to set these two up. You can see how long the fingers are. I'm going to go ahead and remove basically all that excess. Thank you, Jennifer. I really, really appreciate the kind words. Love to teach. It is definitely something that I have a ton of passion for. It's what I know how to do really, really well. I wish I could play golf as good as I could do nails. All right, so we're gonna end up rounding off the edges just like that. And once we are done, what we want to be able to do, hi Brenda, we want to be able to push back the cuticles areas back. We want to kind of replicate. And you can see that I have my electric file set up about 5,000 RPMs. This is going to be, again, gentle enough where I'm going to be able to rotate, again, around the perimeter. And I always like to do that and get my glasses on. It's going down, Jen. And you're going to see how I'm actually using this feathering motion. I'm able to use my pinky to kind of stabilize my finger on top of the potential client's finger, and then use this as a means to feather, right, from corner to corner, right? And then use, again, very gentle tickling motion. I want to be able to feather this away. Same pressure as if I was working on the underside of my wrist. I just want to be able to lightly feather away the shine, right? So tickle, 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 coochie, coochie, coo, right? We just want to be able to gently remove the shine, and the amount of time it actually takes, again, it's not a lot. It's super efficient. For those of you guys that were taught to prep the nails by going like this is not how you prep. This is super ineffective. You're not going to be able to do anything, right? You want to be able to use your tools properly. Your electric file is the most powerful tool in your arsenal. Once you understand how to use that tool properly, you're on your way to becoming an absolute nail ninja. I'm now going to use, right, swipe to clean the surface that I'm working on. I want to be able to scrub it, get all that grime off, and then use some protein bond. And we want to be able to, again, apply 2 coats. For those of you guys that just joined us, make sure to like and subscribe. For those of you guys that want to get notifications, for those of you guys that want to get free education, we're on YouTube Live every day between myself and Karen. It is an encyclopedia of knowledge that you're going to be able to use when it actually comes to getting better at the work that you do. Love that Karen is actually using her own fingernails to do a lot of maintenance. It really does make a lot of difference. Okay, so I have these two preps. We're gonna leave these before we get to the design, okay? So when we are working with, I wanna be able to show you, we're gonna be working with Speed Bubblegum and we're gonna be working with Cork Clear, two of the products right now that are on sale, right? So for those of you guys that made the investment, I wanna be able to show you the difference in consistencies and how they work. I feel this is really important for those of you guys that have made the investment. You're not sure, right? For those of you guys that are already working with it, that's absolutely awesome. But what we want to be able to do is set you up so that when you do get the product, you're going to have a ton of success with it. You're going to notice the difference. Obviously, really, really intense pink. And then you're also going to notice, again, like, you know, again, it's like a white powder. This is going to be like our super clear powder. Now, difference, right? Inconsistency. So I don't have a lot of liquid in here. In order for you guys to dispense the liquid in your dish, make sure you're holding the bottle up to the ferrule. It has to be touching. That way you're going to be able to dispense inside your dish without it running down the side of your bottle. Boom, okay? I like to keep it inside here so that it keeps it nice and clean. Now what's important when you are picking up powder, okay? You're going to notice if I submerge my brush, and this is a fast setting powder. This is a speed powder, this is a core powder. Watch this. If I submerge my brush, right, and I tap it a couple of times, if I pull down and bounce, 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 and then I turn my brush over, you're going to see that I'm going to be able to get, right, a nice even bead that's going to melt quite fast, right? Now the core powder, if I submerge my brush and I tap and I pull down and I do the same thing, you're going to notice that you're able actually to pick up a much bigger bead, right? And it absorbs way faster, right? So the core is actually a lot easier to pick up, right? This right here, right? The properties of this powder set really, really fast. So in order for you to be able to get the same size bead, we have to ensure that we have enough liquid on the brush. Don't make the mistake of doing this. If you submerge your brush and you tap it a bunch of times, and then you come in, you're like, okay, I'm gonna try to go for a big bead, and you pull down, you bounce, you bounce, you bounce, you bounce, you bounce, you bounce, you're gonna notice it's like, well, I'm getting something medium, but I also notice that it's gonna be really, really dry along the edges, okay? So it does eventually absorb, but the problem with this is, look at this. If I try to set this down, it's like setting, right, a dry brick on the nail. There's no self-leveling characteristic to that. Those of you guys who watch me and you see me tackle consistency on a regular basis, I am a huge, right, proponent of getting the product to move from this point to this point in the least amount of effort. So let's just start off with this one first. If I want to get the product to move from this point to this point in the least amount of effort, I have to load my brush. I'm gonna load it, I'm gonna barely touch it, I'm gonna pull down, I'm gonna bounce, 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 I'm gonna count 1, and then I'm literally going onto the nail. That way I'm gonna be able to use a slow kind of sliding motion so that the bead is going to move in a nice self-leveling manner from cuticle to free edge. And it sets me up so that I'm able to use the tip of the brush, right? And literally all I would have to do at this point is kind of lightly feather it into position, right? So that it naturally overlays from cuticle to free edge, right? Now at this position, if I was a little bit shallow in this point, again, I have connection with my hands. You can see how my brush is resting in the crease, right? I don't have it way up here, I have it here. That way I'm able to hold on to my client. You can see I actually have my 2 fingers here. That way I'm actually able to use the body of the brush. And if I needed to kind of contour some of the thickness from side to side and redistribute, right, and rebalance some of that thickness, I'm able to move it from side to side without it getting away from me, okay? So that's with speed. You'll notice if I did not have that consistency, if I was to submerge my brush, watch this is crazy. If I was to submerge my brush and I load this up, I barely touch, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go with a big bead because I'm doing a long nail. And I come down and I bounce, 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 and I got myself and I just wait, like with core, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I was to set this down around 5, take a look at this. Dude, it's not even moving. You see the difference? Right, so with speed, what I wanted to be able to do is right when I pick it up, I'm gonna go 1, 2, set it down. With most of the speed products, you literally wanna be able to set it down. That way, you're not stuck with something that, look at this, if I'm trying to pull this through, no matter how hard I'm actually pulling this through, it's not budging. I don't wanna be in this position where you're stuck with this nail. That's not the consistency that we want. That's the beautiful part about the core powders, as well as the cover powders. You're gonna have a lot more self-leveling characteristic. And in order for you, again, now here's the thing, it depends on the area that you're in. If you're in a very cold climate, right, it's going to act different. It's going to set a lot, again, slower. So the speed usually in colder climates work out really, really well. Now remember, I'm gonna do this again because I wanna be able to show you. If you wanna be able to crush speed, submerge your brush, load it up, right? Look at this, it's almost dripping. I'm barely going to touch the side. This way it gives me the ability to pull down, firmly bounce in the powder. 1, 2, I'm literally just going to release it, use the tip of my brush, literally start using that light sliding motion to get tight around the cuticle areas. You could already see the product starting to move down towards the front end. The best part about this is if you're actually doing smile lines, because you're gonna know, just like ELO, it's gonna stop at a certain point. And if you wanted to kind of use the wedge of your brush to guide it into position and hold it, hold it, hold it. As you can see, you're going to be able to shape out again. And you can see down the barrel of the nail, you see how everything is rounded? This is really easy for me if I was doing an overlay. Look at this. If I was just to pull this, look at this. If I just pull the sides, I'm gonna show you guys something cool. If I just pull the sides, you see how it tapers down towards the sides? That is a beautiful consistency, because at this point right here, if I wanted to use the body of the brush and again get it over the whole entire surface, I'll be able to do that without losing control. Okay, so now you guys know how to work the speed product. That's what we want to be able to do. Now when we're working with Core Clear, again, I'm gonna have a lot easier workability, right? Because again, it's going to set a little bit slower. It's going to allow me, again, to take advantage of the self-leveling nature of the product. But the only difference is how long I actually have to count when I'm actually working the product. So what I'm trying to do, again, I'm trying to get a slow, self-leveling consistency that's going to move from here to here. Lori Chris, I know, I love the color. It's absolutely unbelievable. Okay, so watch this. I think that's what you're talking about. If I submerge my brush and I lightly tap, check this out. Again, I load this up. I'm gonna come down, pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. Watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4, slow release, 5. Now you're going to notice with Core, I waited for 5 seconds. Right, look at this. If I need to kind of guide it, all I have to do is lightly touch, but I'm getting a slow, self-leveling consistency. At this point, I'm doing the same exact thing. I'm using the tip of my brush. Every time I touch the surface a few times, I wipe my brush. Touch the surface a few times, wipe my brush. And at this point, I can start using the body of the brush and contouring the shape of the acrylic, right? So it naturally shapes, right, from this point to this point in the least amount of effort. Let's not make the mistake when we are working with the product. Do not make the mistake of holding the finger too flat. If you were to hold the finger too flat and you didn't wait, watch what happens. If I submerge the brush, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna get myself a really, really nice bead. I'm not gonna wait, I'm just gonna set it down and brush forward. Dude, what you're gonna end up with is a mushroom cloud that's going to run onto the skin and onto the sides. That is not what you want. The difference between this naturally shaped, and I just created a mushroom cloud. Don't want mushroom clouds. That is a huge problem, right? That is going to lead to a lot of frustration. And for those of you guys that are learning how to do nails, you want to be able to set yourself up so that you want to have the least amount of filing around the perimeter of the nail. It's not just good preparation. You have to have tight application. You have to have excellent finishing. And what I mean by excellent finishing is finishing in the least amount of effort so that you don't disturb the bond of the natural nail when you apply it to the surface. Okay, so what kind of consistency do we want with core? If I submerge my brush and I lightly tap and I load this up, right? Don't just do this. Don't just set it in the surface hoping that you're gonna pick something up, because what's gonna end up happening is it's gonna fall back inside. And then for those of you guys that are learning this, you're like, I could get it, I could get it, I could get it, I could get it. And then what you end up getting is a giant asteroid on the end of your brush. You can't work with an asteroid on the end of your brush, right? You have to physically pull down into the surface of the acrylic. So if I submerge my brush and I lightly tap, watch this. Again, the front end, you see the dark end of the brush? If I pull down and I just start lightly bouncing into the surface, row, 2, 3, 4, 5, release. Right? Use the tip of the brush lightly. It's like a light sliding motion to the cuticle area as the acrylic, and you can see I'm holding the product down. I'm trying to get the volume to move from this point to this point in the least amount of effort. But you notice the slow roll. I would be able to come in here, and if I wanted again to do a really, really nice smile line, I could use the wedge of the brush and continue to tuck it back without the product rolling off the end of the brush. That way we're able to build that wall that we want in order to have a tremendous amount of success. Everything starts here. You notice from the side, do you see how everything tapers evenly and round, not just to the cuticle area, and the majority, the bulk of the product is past the apex, onto the stress area, onto the free edge if you were going to be building? That's what you want to be able to do. All right, back to the speed product. Check this out. We're gonna now take that method and we're gonna actually build a nail. So if you're building length, we need to remove the tab. I need to place it underneath just like this. Just gonna kind of zoom out. Make it easy for yourselves. Take the front end of the form, pinch right here. Boom, create a handle. Open up the back end, just like this. Right? You're going to notice immediately, and again, you notice where it's actually sticking. I barely have it stuck to my fingers, right? Excuse my hands, you guys. Doing work around the house, and I got a ton of scrapes. Okay, so you're gonna notice right now. Watch this. Take a look at this angle. If I hold this off to the side, right? I don't just go straight in. If I hold it off to the side and I come at an angle just like this, do you see how the form is at an angle? New record. And I'm holding my finger like this. I'm going to be able to tilt it up so that the form, look at how tight and straight that is. Don't make the mistake of going like this, jamming it up and then going like this, right? Look at this. It doesn't even stick. If you were used to coming in at a corner and jamming it like this and going like this, you're gonna end up with a form, right? That's gonna, you have no chance of building nails successfully. You're gonna build owl claws or eagle talons. We don't wanna do that. We don't want it to kind of hang. If I submerge, right, if I actually take this back end and I take this and I actually pre-pinch the front end to create the right tab, if you open this up and you widen this out, barely stick it. Don't hold it way up here. Hold it here so that it makes it easy for you. I'm gonna get in tight, watch this. So I'm coming at it at an angle. Okay, it's like I got underneath the free edge. I'm gonna use my hand. I'm gonna tilt it up, boom. Perfectly straight, secure. If you guys are working on the hands, you wanna make sure, right, that it's stuck to the side of the finger. The form is extended dead straight all the way to the side, and that's going to make it really, really easy. I really appreciate all the comments, you guys. For those of you guys that just joined us, make sure to smash that like button. For those of you guys who have not subscribed to this channel, you must. You're gonna get the best nail education in the industry. I promise you that. Okay, once we have the form on, what consistency do we need in order to be successful? Let's just go with active length. Let's go with speed. I'm gonna submerge my brush. I'm gonna try to keep everything actively on the screen so that you can see. If I submerge my brush, lightly tap, pull down, bounce, bounce, just a couple bounces, right? I have that nice bead. I want to release the liquid from the back end of the brush. Why? That way, when I set it to the form and I release, look at that, it doesn't move. I want that for this, right? That way I could use the body of the brush, I can walk it down the side, I could get it even with the growth channel. I'm gonna walk it from the top of the bead so that I could tuck it to the corner. I'm gonna go to the other side, walk it even with the growth channel, walk it from the top, even with the growth channel, walk it from the top. Now, once I have it connected, I could brush it out to extend length, and then I could also use the side of the brush, right, to taper. So it's like if I want slightly coffin nails, look at that. I'm gonna taper the free edge so that everything is within that range, right? That's what we wanna be able to create. For those of you guys that just joined us, make sure to smash that like button. And again, subscribe, you're gonna get the best. Okay, now what we wanna be able to do is we wanna be able to do this. On that, we have, right, the proper shape. You can even see at this point, it's like, I still have enough time to come in, get it dead straight, make it totally even. It's not going to move. We need a big enough bead to overlay. So if I submerge my brush and I load this up and I barely tap one side, pull down, bounce, 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 bounce. 1, 2, literally release. Remember with speed, slow release, slide, slide, slide. Let that product run. Let that product run. Right here at this, look at this, right here at the front. Start brushing with the tip of the brush, wipe your brush. Start brushing from the side and the front, wipe your brush. I'm not attacking the back, I'm holding everything so that it levels nice and even. Look at this, I can continue to brush through the surface, and because my consistency is so nice, everything is going to overlay. Look at that, creating a natural shape. Even if I was to put pressure back, if I wasn't able to get it over the whole entire nail. Take a look here. Look at this. Look at this. Just by putting pressure here, do you see that it's actually able to create that natural arch on the back end? If I don't have enough product on the front end, that's when you're gonna end up going in for the blending bead. Right? It doesn't matter whether you're doing tips, it doesn't matter whether you're doing sculpts. You can see right here in the front, I don't have enough product. So what do? We submerge our brush, we lightly tap, I pull down, bounce, bounce. I just need a couple bounces to get a smaller bead. I release the liquid, I'm gonna set my brush backwards in the negative space. I'm going to blend back into the body, clean my brush. Now I'm going to use the body, and all I have to do is walk it from side to side so that I'm not creating a mountain of acrylic. I'm able to overlay the negative spacing. This is going to allow me to get it tight so that it sets me up, right, to file into perfection. I can continue to work around, but you can also see when I'm working, I have full connection with my brush. My brush is in the crease of my hand, I have balance. It's all about fundamentals so that you're able to create the right structure, right, in the least amount of effort. Okay, so again, worked with speed, was able to build this out. How are we going to use, right, Core Clear? Dude, this is sick. Check this out. I'm gonna show you guys something crazy. I'm gonna take an empty jar. I'm going to pour, I'm gonna come about, I'd say a little bit more than half. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all 3 of these glitters. I'm gonna take Price Tag. We'll go ahead and mix that in. I'm gonna get a heavy because I want an aluminum style. We wanna make this green pop. I'm going to take Fortune, which is this holographic glitter. Boom, do the same exact thing. Cover the whole entire surface. These are gonna look tight together, right? And then again, I have these holographic kind of confetti looking colors. Let's go ahead, and this color is Ferris Squeal. And you can see the name. I'm gonna just lightly remove this. It's just gonna kind of sprinkle a nice dash, a little bit heavier than that. Okay, now when you guys are mixing your glitter, really important, you can see look at the difference, how much powder to glitter there is. That's a huge difference. I'm gonna take my cap, I'm gonna make sure that we get this nice and tight. And then what I wanna be able to do is all I'm gonna do is literally roll it in my hands. Let me just kind of zoom out so that you guys can see. I don't wanna use, right? You can see I'm turning it around. I'm literally just kind of flipping this around to dispense as much glitter as I possibly can to make custom colors. You're gonna love Cork Clear for mixing. It's absolutely unbelievable, right? We got this all mixed up, all right? And it makes it a lot easier than actually taking, right, the back of your brush and doing this. If I was taking the back of the brush and kind of swiveling around the back end, it's gonna be very hard for me to dispense. Take a look at this color. You're gonna absolutely love this. We're gonna use this to actually build the nail, right? Boom, look at that. And again, you're gonna see that is what that's gonna look. It's gonna look absolutely unbelievable. So we're gonna take, again, Cork Clear, right? For those of you guys that just got the system, right? For those of you guys that just invested in the powders we have on sale, that is the potential of what you guys can make. Okay, now, how do we take the same concepts, right? This is actually starting to dry out and ready to shape. We wanna take the glitter and build something wicked. So, I'm gonna take my form. I'm gonna release it. I'm gonna place the tab underneath just like this. I'm gonna pre-pinch the front of the tab. Boom, again, I have the handle. I'm gonna open up the back end. Again, kind of widen this out. I barely have it connected to my fingers. The free edge is right here. I wanna make sure that I'm coming right underneath, and then what I wanna be able to do is use my hand and then tilt it until it's dead straight. Perfect, right? Just tilt it, kind of adjust it, make it as straight as you possibly can. How do we build the free edge? So I need to build something, again, that's going to be very easy for me to fade. Take a bead, submerge your brush, get yourself a nice bead, right? You're going to notice, watch this. I'm going to set this, I'm gonna get a little bit bigger bead. Let me just adjust this form, just so that it's gonna be really easy for me to work. I'm gonna submerge my brush, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna grab myself a nice bead, right? I'm gonna release the liquid just like you guys have been doing, and I'm going to set this right to the very, very front. I'm going to release, look how pretty that is. Again, it's not running. I'm going to use the body of the brush. I'm gonna walk it to the side, get it even with my growth channel, walk it to the top. Even with the growth channel, walk it to the top. Don't worry about it getting onto the nail. Even with the growth channel, walk it from the top. Even with the growth channel, tuck it into the corner. Now, once we have the sides connected, you can now choose, again, whatever shape you want. If I'm coming in and I need a little bit of length, let's just go with a long stiletto. Dude, I can come all the way out to the very, very edge. Again, everything is tapered. I wanna try to get a really, really long stiletto nail. I'm gonna try to bring this all the way out to the front so that we have this really magnificent point. And for those of you guys that want really tight, right, coffin nails, build a stiletto nail and then square it off, okay? I'm not concerned about the glitter that's in the body because what we wanna be able to do is create a beautiful fade, okay? So that line of demarcation that we have right here, I'm gonna submerge my brush. I'm gonna get a very, very small amount, very small amount. I'm going to lay this right here. It's my blending bead. I'm just gonna lay it right across the natural nail. I'm gonna blend it in, right? Blend it into the free edge, and then I'm gonna take the tip of my brush from the back while it's wet, and all I'm going to do is lightly kind of pull this back so that it looks like shooting stars are going into the body. We wanna try to disperse the glitter and make it look like as natural of an ombre as we possibly can. All right. Again, we have rich free edge. We have the glitter disperse. And the glitter, again, at this point right here, everything is going to be, look, I can still come in here and make sure that everything is nice and tight. Okay. Now you can see from the side profile how thin everything is. What are we going to do? We're going to take Core Clear. Okay. We're going to take Core Clear and we're going to overlay it. So we want a consistency. It's a lot longer than doing this, right? So what I'm going to focus on, I'm going to make sure that when I'm actually building this, I want to make sure, right, that I'm not trying to pull it too flat. I need to get a big bead. I'm going to submerge my brush, right? I'm going to load this up. Let me just make sure that I have an even surface to pick off of. I'm going to pull down, bounce, 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 bounce. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, release, slow. I'm going to use the tip of my brush. I'm lightly going to use a light sliding motion around the perimeter of the nail so that it gets tight around that. As everything moves down over the stress area, for you to get bubble free, I need to make sure that I have a consistency that's going to be able to brush through the whole entire surface. Notice where I'm pulling. I'm pulling from the front, not from the back. If I need to redistribute some of the volume, I'm pushing up this way to kind of get that volume back up into the stress area, then start lightly guiding. I actually have plenty of product, right, that I'm gonna be able to get all the way over and close to the end. You can see from the side profile that as I'm overlaying, I'm not really concerned about the very, very edges as long as I have a really natural overlay from side to side. And as you can see, look at that. Like the clarity, right? I haven't even filed it yet. There's 0 bubbles in there at all. So you can see that I'm missing product from the front end. What do I need to do? I need to submerge my brush. For those of you guys that just joined us, make sure to subscribe and like. I'm going to get a nice bead. I'm going to release. Check this out. I'm like, you see, I want to make a point. Okay, you see where the body ends up, and then you can see where the tip is. I want to lay it down about right there. So if I submerge my brush, I pull down and I bounce, that might be a little bit too much product. Submerge, I just need a small amount. I don't need a lot, right? I'm going to release the liquid. Again, where am I going to set it? Right in between at that point. I'm going to brush it back. It's going to leave just enough product where I'm going to be able to use the body of the brush. It's almost the very base of the brush to just barely walk it over and seal that edge. I'm not concerned about building volume. All I want to be able to do is get it over the surface, all right? So that this nail is going to be extremely easy to file. If there was missing, you could always get a small amount. I always like to blend back from the cuticle area here. That way it fills volume into the body, as you can see. And then what you could do is use the body of the brush. Don't pull it forward. Use the body of the brush. Walk it from side to side, right? That way it starts to set. And then once everything is set, then you can actually start to feather it into position so that everything is nice and perfect. Okay, we're gonna let this dry. Okay, so when it comes to filing, right, this is really important for all of you guys out there that are learning how to hand file, how to electric file. The most important tool in your arsenal is this. But again, right, this is not designed so that you're using this to file everything perfect. This is used to reduce bulk from the body so that you can hand file it into perfection. Now, in order for you to be able to hand file it into perfection, okay, let me keep this off to the side. What I have to be able to do is I have to be able to shape this really, really easy. So I'm gonna shape my sides first. I'm gonna keep contact on the side. I'm gonna keep contact in the side. And you can see what I mean by keeping contact on the side. You see how my file marks run from the back of the cuticle all the way to the front? I'm not swiveling while I'm moving. I have full connection at the side so that I have straight sidewalls. And then if I need to taper the free edge, we're just going with a slightly tapered. Tapered means it's just kind of basically at a cut motion at the front end. This is starting to set, and I just want to make sure I can come in here and pinch it. I'm always aware of this while I'm working on this. Okay, so at this point, if I'm trying to get my lower arch, you can see my lower arch just kind of hang. I need to keep contact here. Do you see this? I'm not going to start from the corner and go in. I'm going to start from the lowest point, keep contact parallel. You see how it's parallel to the finger? And then I keep contact as I file up. Eventually what it'll do is it'll reach the end of the growth channel so that I have a perfectly straight lower arch that extends from the end of the growth channel all the way out to the end of the free edge. Let's do the same thing on the opposite side. You can see how much is hanging here. You know, a lot of times when we're working, if I notice that I overbuilt the acrylic, what you can end up doing to make it easier for you is take a toenail clipper and just clip off any of that hanging extension. That way you don't have to sit there and beat up your hands when you're filing it. I'm gonna set it at the lowest point. I'm gonna file up and continue to file, continue to file until my hand file, again, reaches the end of the growth channel and I have absolutely perfection on the ends. Once this is straight, this is absolutely set. Let me go ahead and remove this. This is dry. We can now use our electric file. Let me just go ahead and file this, right? So that we're able to kill two birds with one stone. So with this one, I'm gonna make sure that I'm keeping my sides dead straight because we wanna make sure this is going to be as pointed as we possibly can. Same exact thing. I need to make sure you can see the lowest point of the lower arch is dead center here. This is matching to the end of the growth channel. What we have to do is we have to set our file at the end and we have to file up until it reaches that point right there. So again, parallel the finger at the lowest point, keep contact, continue to keep contact, continue to file until the whole entire hand file, you can visually see how it's filing. Look at this. That's what we want to be able to create. You see that, you guys? This is going to separate your nails from everybody else's nails because the biggest problem that a lot of beginners make is they end up taking their hand file and literally just pulling into the side like this at the corners. And when you pull in from the side and the corners like this, and you keep doing that, it ends up building a notch right here on the side. You don't want that notch, right? You want your lower arches to extend flawlessly at the end of the growth channel all the way to the end of the fingernail, right, to the free edge. Okay, so again, you can see all that extension. This one right here, I'm gonna start here. I need to bring it in so it matches. So I keep contact, keep it straight, keep it as straight as I possibly can until my hand file, again, reaches so that the end of my growth channel is dead straight. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, flawless. It just has to, again, it has to look as straight as we possibly can. Let me just make sure this is pinched in all the way. Now, when you're electric filing, it's really important, again, I'm gonna take this off. I am going to place, again, my safety bit on top. I need to keep a little bit of space because of the length that I'm working with. I'm gonna lock this up. I'm gonna turn my electric file, as you guys can see, to about 15,000 RPMs. And what I want to be able to do now, right, I'm right-handed, so I work in forward. Okay, so what I want to be able to do, if you're looking at the side profile, okay, I want to make sure, again, I'm filing my upper arch from the side profile, nice and straight. And what I'm trying to create is as natural of a curve as I possibly can. I'm gonna look down the barrel of the nail. I'm gonna try to get my C curve in one direction. One direction. I'm filing in one direction to get my C curve. I'm not going side to side. Look at this, my finger is positioned here. That way I balance. If I don't have connection, I shake when I work. So I want to be able to file in one direction down the barrel of the nail so that everything is going to be even from side to side. When I'm working around the cuticle area, right, I want to be, I'm trying to reduce thickness. So all I want to be able to do is reduce a little bit of thickness, reduce a little bit of thickness, reduce a little bit of thickness around the cuticle area, and then file all the way through. Once I have the majority of the thickness filed into perfection, the rest of it is going to be hand filing. Same for this right here, looking at the side profile, right? Let me just try to get in tight so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. right? I see a little bit of volume at the back end. I'm basically going to reduce a little bit so that it looks like it's tapering towards the back end. I don't need to file that much through the upper arch. I really need to just try to dial in, right? So that we have a natural shape all the way through. Again, I want to look down the barrel of the nail here. I'm not concerned whether it's completely even on the sides. I could do all that final detailing at the very, very end. I'm filing in one direction down my free edge to reduce thickness on the tip and make it absolutely even from side to side. I want it nice and round and even. I don't want it too thick on either side. You can already see the color starting to come through. I'm gonna come around the cuticle area. Again, all I'm doing is reducing bulk and then follow through the rest of the nail, right? And I'm done. I don't need to, again, spend a ton of time. I'm not trying to make it perfect. All I am trying to do is get it into position so that I'm actually able to use my hand file, right? Look at this. So number one key when you're hand filing, you want to be able to set the cuticle up so that, look at this. Tickle, 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 tickle. I'm barely touching. I'm barely touching. Do you see, look at this. Do you see how tight? You don't want a ledge. If you physically take your fingernail and your fingernail gets stuck, it's going to lift. You have to be able, again, to come around the cuticle areas in the least amount of effort so that it tapers flush to the cuticle areas. Now again, the only way to do this, your application, right? Your application has to be tight, right? That self-leveling nature as the product starts to move around the cuticle area, that's the most important thing because it sets you up so that you don't need to do a lot of filing around the cuticle area. It is all about using this to reduce bulk, and I don't have to spend that much time, right? That way, at this point, it's like, okay, I do my left side. I literally just file my left side. All my file marks are coming down at an angle. Look, I'm holding the file from the top. Everything is filing this way. Let me just make sure this doesn't pop out. And then the right side, contact going in, let it fall, right? And I'm able to move in a cohesive manner so that I have full contact on that right side. Now, at this point, this is where you're going to do all the minor detailing. I'm literally going to take my finger. I'll show you guys something crazy. All right, so at this point right here, right, you can see I'm looking down the barrel of the nail. I want to try to make this as even as I can, right, from side to side. I want to try to make my sidewalls as straight as I can by holding my hand file down the barrel of the nail. Boom. You see that? Look at, you can see how straight everything is. And then what I can do is I can rest my finger, make a peace sign between my knuckles. I could rest it here. And then what we can end up doing is literally resting it on the surface as I'm filing down in one direction down the barrel of the nail. So we have it in position. Check this out. If I was to take a light buffer to the surface, just to give you guys an idea, right, of what the nail looks like. And then I go ahead and take my wipe, right, and I wipe this off. Like, you can see, I'm trying to get this in position. Do you see how, like, again, look how straight that is coming off the sides, right? Again, a nice natural taper around the edges. The extension is going to be absolutely flat. This is the canvas you want to be able to create so that you're able to perform your works of art. Now this one right here, again, I don't have that much, again, to file. I want to be able to show you guys what the design looks like because we built it out. I want to come around the cuticle area. I don't have that much to do. Again, my application was tight, right? I'm going to come around, making sure that my sides are nice and even. I hold my hand file on top. I file down my left side, trying to blend this as even as we possibly can. Look, I'm holding it on the bottom. Contact going into my right, let it fall. That way I can flow. I want to try to flow as I work. Right? I break it down so that it's going to be really easy. I'm trying to get this as tight as we possibly can. My lower arch, I want to make sure that everything is dead straight. I'm keeping contact because I want this dead straight all the way. And then last but not least, I want to be able to look down this profile so that I can make sure, right, that I'm getting my sidewalls razor pointed straight, right? So we could do that razor sharp stiletto. And then I want to be able to hold my hand file on top and do the same exact thing so that we have an even shape, right, from side to side. And then again, we just lightly kind of buff the surface. Let me just go ahead and get some swipe, all right? And you can see, dude, look, right? That's what we want to be able to create. Like a little bit of a bump right there. Again, I'm gonna be, this is where, once you're done filing the nails, it's like, okay, what do I need to do to come in and just do some minor detailing around the edges? You have to be able to look around the whole entire surface of the nail, right? So that when you're applying it, and then I can take a look, there we go. I was able to fix that side. Try to take it in. Whatever space you have around the corner, don't worry about that. You could apply the top coats over the edges in order for you guys to get it absolutely perfect. Last but not least, you need to see again what it looks like, right? I'm always going to take, and this is really important, to seal your top coats, your gel polishes, but if I take, again, right, a little bit of protein bond, right, and then I go ahead and use whatever top coat of your choice, this is where the magic happens. Boom. You can see that once I apply the top coat over the surface, right, it really becomes dimensional. And that's what we want to be able to create, okay? All right, I hope this helps. I really, really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys have questions, let us know. You can call in. There's actually someone that'll talk to you, which is absolutely crazy. 1-800-777-9170. You have to subscribe. You have to subscribe and like. Like the only way that you guys are going to get notifications is if you subscribe to the channel. We're doing YouTube lives every day. We want to be able to educate as many people as we can on the proper way to do nails. And again, if you guys have any questions, ask. We're here to help. There's a whole team of people here dedicated to your success. I really, really appreciate all you guys tuning in. Deanna, the Penthusiast, I really, really appreciate you. Zara, thank you for subscribing. Natasha, thank you. Kayla, I really appreciate you. Thank you guys, and I look forward to the next session. Have a wonderful day. Love you. Peace.